Hey guys, it's Michael here, and welcome to my session for Energy Worker University on blockages and emotional healing. Well, today is a very interesting topic because, to be honest, this is really the most hardest part of the energy worker path or psychic path. And this is where actually a lot of people, they get snagged right here, because this is really hard, because you've got to look inward at yourself and look at the real you in the mirror, which that isn't always the easiest thing to do. And sometimes you will have to look at very painful events that happened in your past. Because what blockages are, now let me give you guys kind of like a bit of an explanation what they actually are. Blockages on a surface level are basically like, if I'm going to give you guys a visual, like imagine a lake over here, and you had a stream. Actually, let's see if I can draw a picture of that, just for fun here. Oh, my light is bright. Okay, let's go over to paint. All right. Okay, let's imagine this is a lake. All right, I'm gonna color that in with some blue. All right, and let's say over here we have a stream. All right. All right, now this is a representation if you have very clear, energy, and it's all good to go. And let's picture this as a chakra or an energy center here. It's all very clean, it looks nice. But what happens with these blockages is, imagine you start getting all this kind of garbage all dotted through here. And that garbage starts to seep in through these meridian points and starts to clog them up here and starts to dam them all up. And it isn't a very pretty scenario, because that as that energy clogs up, you can start to have some very big problems come your way, like not just health issues, but like lack of energy and many other things, that you can even feel disconnected from different chakras that are very important. Like a lot of times you see people that are up in the clouds with their head all the time, but they're not connected down to the earth, so to speak. Like they're very spacey. Their lower chakras have been blocked, or they're not open. And what happens is, like, their higher ones are open, so like their higher ones are trying to overcompensate because they're so well used, while the lower ones are not so much. And the opposite can be true, where the lower ones are all free and good, but the upper ones are not. So it can really depend on which is happening. And like I told you guys earlier, like in my post, was like, and for those of you that are watching and don't see my post or whatever, what you should know is, like, even on the last video, we opened up the chakras. Sure, they're open now, but what's the point if they're half blocked? All right, so now what blockages are, they can include, well, let's see, let me take a look at my notes here. They can be like physical trauma, they can be emotional trauma, mental trauma, they can be hatred towards somebody, negative events, negative memories, or stereotypes toward people, any sort of things like that. And what science is beginning to realize, and like in the energetic sense, is like there's a very close connection between the subconscious mind and the energy body. There's a very, very close connection. And what will happen is, you'll see this even come up in dreams and such. Your dreams will start telling you different things, because dreams are a way for your body to say it's safe and okay to hear this without triggering these blockages, which hold all this negative stuff. But it's a way of telling you, hey, you might want to look at this and fix this, or hey, pay attention to this. So you might want to take a look at that. And here's another thing too. As you guys have probably noticed, like when you've been working through your energy work, there's sometimes you feel like there's more like areas that you cannot get past or get into when you're moving through all the energetic pathways in your body. And you know, we're gonna get into some more energetic pathways later, but that's for a later video. And let me tell you guys, like sluggish, if the energy feels sluggish going through you, that's okay. That means just that area is a bit more dormant. However, what is something you should watch for, and you should always pay attention when you're doing with energy work, is areas that feel like you cannot get into, or like little pebbles or black spots that you cannot get into. And you know, this can also include spots in the auric field as well. And what you guys should know, you have the three auric fields. You have your etheric field out here. Then you have your emotional layer. Whoa, Michael, get your auric layer straight. Okay. Then you have, after the emotional layer, your mental layer, and then out to your astral layer. And as a point to you guys, the higher you go on the auric layer, the more lower ones will also be removed in terms of blockages. I don't mean removing the layers, but like actual blockages that trickle down throughout the layers. So the higher the blockage is in the auric layer, the more it's going to trickle down to the other layers. So if you get rid of the one in the higher layer, the more likely it's going to trickle down to the rest. So, you know, there's two ways of getting rid of blockages. You've got A, which is, you know, energy work and going through and stimulating those areas and, you know, penetrating through those blocks, which, you know, you can do that, but as a word of warning, those areas contain negative energy. When punctured, they can have a lot of negative energy go outward, which can result in, you know, some pain, rashes, some infections, and so all sorts of stuff. So if you have a very huge block, it's best to sometimes open it slowly and slowly wear away at it. And also, when you start to also push against it, so it's kind of like you push against it, because once you start pushing against it and disturbing it, memories and different things start to surface of what those different things were blocked for. So like if I had, let's say, what's a good example? Like, oh, okay, that would be one. Like abandonment issues. What could happen is, like, different areas are associated with different emotions and different things. So blockages can occur in different areas of the body. Like, for example, your gallbladder. Gallbladder is attached to abandonment. So like if you have long-term abandonment issues in there, what can happen is, like, if it's not taken care of, you can have gallbladder problems for the rest of your life, and chronic ones if it's not taken care of. Now, when actually releasing that, you know, you might have a few problems in that area. So it can it's a kind of catch and take. So use energy work to try to clear out the blockages if they're small, but also try to take care of them as they come up, because even though you take care of them, when you push away that blockage, what can happen if they're still not taken care of in that memory and subconscious layer, the blockage will resettle in and you stir back to square one. So you've got to incorporate both. So it's a joint effort in that regard. So now some things to be aware of, like on these diseased areas, like look at the skin, for example. Like you see my skin, it has a lot of acne and stuff. Like I'm trying to get rid of a lot of toxins in my body, and that's associated with parts of my diet, and I've actually been working on that, and my skin's been actually healing quite a bit. And you guys may have noticed this in some of the other videos. But keeping the skin healthy is extremely beneficial, because your skin is your largest organ on your entire body. Like, sure, you may have this layer, which is technically, I guess, dead, but then the layer below it is the endothermic layer, which is actually alive. And all these pores are very beneficial because like our body is a complex system of meridians, and those meridians can branch out to these pores. So keeping the skin healthy also allows for clean and healthy energy flow. So like, for example, like if you see unusual calluses that have not been caused by friction, you should take a close look at it. Like for example, if you look on your elbows, if you see anything like a large callus on your elbows for no reason, like there's no reason it should be there, or calluses anywhere else, you should work on that and try to, that's a definite sign that there's a blockage there. Ugh. Wow. Okay, but anyway, that's a definite sign that a blockage is there, because what happens is that area, like for example in the feet, that is a large exchange of energy that is going into the earth and coming out. So the toxic energy is going into the earth, or maybe even positive energy if you've taken care of that area. But if it has calluses on the bottom, what can happen is that energy flow can become stagnated, and what will happen is you'll have a lot more buildup of toxicity and a lot less healing energy coming up from the earth. So, you know, it's a catch and take. But, you know, and there's different areas of the earth, of course, that don't have the best of energy, like, you know, for example, Walmart. Not exactly a great place. So take care of where you absorb your energy from. But anyways, moving on. Blockages can also be associated with physical damage as well. So like you were whipped repeatedly in an area, or something, you flinch at the slightest moment of like something happening to you. And this, you know, this can also be psychological as well, because your energy and your mind remembers those moments and is trying to help you like stay away from pain. And so like it's always going to try to prevent you from having that pain and from hurting yourself. So what will often happen, it will shield itself and throw up a block of some sort. Like I raise my hand, I'm trying to block that incoming energy towards me, like for example a belt, so it doesn't go and inflict damage on my systems. Like for example, if the belt was coming towards my eyes automatically close, and this hits here. So it's not only a brain function, it's also energetically, because once a part of your system has been damaged, it also damages that energetic system as well. So that's something to be, that's an interesting note. And man, there's a lot of points in this. Now, that is a lot of information to swallow. And so the basic things to remember is like your subconscious is directly linked to your energetic body. So like any issues like bad memories that you used to have, like, you know, let's say your boyfriend cheated or your girlfriend cheated on you, that's one that you're going to have to probably take a look at if it's still very painful. Hatred towards somebody, like if I particularly hate this person, like I absolutely hate them, that's going to cause an energetic block there, because negative feelings or negative energy is often very stagnant and will start to block up those areas. And so what will happen is somebody, like, let's say, like I hate somebody, like what I'll have to do is like I'll have to go into my heart or any other spot where that blockage is associated, or you know, you can just start feeling out like, why do I hate this person? Start asking yourself, why do I hate this person? And maybe forgive them. And you know, you don't have to like them necessarily, but you can't continually harbor that hatred, because that hatred is what's going to cause those blocks. So you can avoid them. You don't have to, you know, associate with them. You don't have to. But the point is, you've got to clear away that spot. You've got to let it go, because otherwise that's going to keep that flow of energy stagnant. So now on to actually removing these blocks. First bit is emotional healing. And I'm going to go over one method of emotional healing, and I'm also going to go over some different ways you can help penetrate through those blocks. So I'm going to go over the first bit, how to penetrate through some of those energy blocks or start to push against them. So, like for example, if you have like one down in your feet, for example, you might feel like tiny grains of sand or kind of like feeling or kind of dark areas that you cannot penetrate. So what you can do is like you can have like areas where you can create a feeling of like a wire brush going against those areas. It's a lot more of heavier of a method that I use for feeling and for the kinesthetics. Or visually, if you're a very visual person, you can go in and start like using a drill or a jackhammer or whatever works for you, or maybe even a blowtorch if you really want to be extreme. But what that does, it allows you to break into that blockage. And when it's disturbed, what will happen is it can bring up those memories. And you know, if you guys start experiencing like any like illnesses or pain, stop immediately and you know continually work on the emotional level with them. But if you know if it starts to develop into an infection, which sometimes it can if it's big enough, seek medical attention. I strongly recommend that. Energy work is really good, but it's no good if you've got an infection and you are going to die because of that infection. So do seek medical attention, guys, please. All right. So that's it for actual energetic methods to move on through there. But now for the actual emotional healing. Now this is going to involve you going back into the memory of what happened to cause that core image or that event to start to create that blockage in the first place. And, you know, it may take a while to go through those, but there's always that main one that started it all. And just by taking care of that one spot, you can clear out the rest. So especially if you go in the higher layers, like if it's a very mental layer, like I hate like Muslim people or any one a particular religion, like for a while, like I had an area where I didn't really like anyone that was LDS for a while, and that was a blockage for me, and I had to get rid of that on a mental layer. So, and that cleared out the blockages on the layers below. So the higher you can go in that area, the better you can do. So try to clear out all those layers, the mental, the emotional, and that will also go down to the etheric. And you know, I won't go into the astral layer for this video, but just try to go focus on those events. All right, so how to actually get into these events. Close your eyes down. Now, you don't, since I'm not actually doing a session with this one, I'm going to just ask you guys to say, take me back to this event or such and such, what happened that night. And what will happen is it will take you immediately back to that memory. And you can either be watching or you can go into that memory and interact with it at the end of whatever happened. Give yourself comfort for whatever happened. Like, let's say your boyfriend broke up with you or your girlfriend. You can go over there and give yourself comfort and that love that you needed in that moment and tell yourself it's okay, and you know, things can get better. And what'll happen is over time that will heal that area, or it can even heal it immediately. But focus on that. And it's okay to cry during this. It is totally okay to cry. But work through those and you know, take as much time as you need, because you're giving yourself that self-love. So anyways, guys, you know, give yourself a few minutes if you want to go through that again and pause the video during that. But give yourself as much time as you need and give yourself that comfort. Anyways, guys, if you guys want me to do more a bit later, like on this subject, you guys can, you know, contact me through Facebook and ask me to do that, or post in the comments on here or on Facebook. And oh, and one little sneak peek, like I promised in my description, into my psychic defense class. There's one more type of blockage that is very keen to be aware of. Negative entities like to attach to blockages for the reason that they're very easy to get into and your own energy is not interacting with them. And what will happen is it will attach to there, and you know, it can even cause like a physical cyst on your body, but usually it will just be an energy cyst. And you know, there's been reports of people that have, you know, they get possessed for a moment, or they get overshadowed, and usually the entity just is along there for the ride, or it can cause physical damage to you. So that's one thing that's a little bit of intro into my psychic defense class. But anyway, there's a little sneak peek. Anyways, hope you guys do well with this. I know this is an extremely hard thing to deal with because you're looking at yourself. Anyways, guys, love you all. Have a good week.